but what's happened and has now been accelerated is we've shifted into this option economy. And in the option economy, we understand and recognize that we choose each other. Every single time you meet somebody, you collaborate with somebody, you hire somebody, whatever, you are actually saying, oh, I'm making a bet that future shenanigans with you would be awesome. And whatever your definition of awesome is, it's entirely up to you, but you're actually betting on somebody's future. Hello. Welcome to everybody to the last but certainly not least live with Joanna show of 2021. And I will also announce our last of this format live show that we are going to do, because we are building new stuff in 2022. And guess what? Because you all showed up, you're going to find out about it first. For those of you that are new to the show today, thank you for coming. It is lovely to see all of you. It is also awesome to see some amazing familiar faces here. I'm Joanna Bloor, your ambition guide and aspiring fairy godmother. The festive does not just happen right before the holidays. If you have been before, you will know that we spend the first 15 or 20 minutes or so talking about an idea of the show today. So this week's topic is why you need to think about the future you for 2022 and beyond, and some of the questions there. As always, I love to put ideas into action. And so if you are feeling particularly brave today, we are going to be looking for volunteers to go through one of my famous transformation experiences. Feel free, if you're already like, yes, me, please, I totally want to do this. I've either seen it or I'm filling up for it today. Let Michelle, you want to give everybody a wave there? Know in the chat, because I will be checking with her first on who is going to be coming up for a demonstration, and ultimately open up for FAQ. So if you came with specific questions today, we are going to have time at the end. And then last but not least, as I mentioned, we are going to be launching all sorts of new things in 2022, including, spoiler alert, the very new, very exciting, very three-dimensional Future You world, which we'll be launching. I just actually got to see a preview of it this morning, and I am very excited. And, because hashtag overachiever here, not one, but two books in the making that are coming out. One, for those of you that are familiar, by the way, you have Cinderella all wrong narrative. I will be giving you a guidebook for not only yourself, but your 8-year-old girls in your world. But then also an entire conversation about the future you and why I am super excited and the path forward. So before I jump in though, I have a question for the audience. Because especially for those that you don't know, I always think this is a bespoke experience as you go through. I want to know, how many of you are currently suffering from or experiencing what I call ambiguity exhaustion? So just either a digital hand wave or a hand wave on ambiguity exhaustion. Yeah, lots of us. What about how many of you are kind of saying, wow, actually, I'm also suffering from what I call corporate professional loneliness? Anybody feeling lonely out there? Yeah. Well, I'd say me too, but I talk to people all day, every day. Isn't that weird? How you feel lonely? And I've got a sunshine problem. And how many of you are here because you are like, oh, Joanna, yes, this future you thing, and I have no stinking idea of how to think about the future you? A couple of you guys. Has anyone got like I have got the future you thing sorted out and I need a plan? Nobody? A couple of you guys, sort of, kind of. Good to know. Either way, you have come to the right place, because I will tell you, we have been talking to hundreds, I would say, of people recently. We've been super busy. And here's what I actually believe for everyone right now. I think everybody is suffering from a bit of ambiguity exhaustion. We're all kind of done with the I can't actually predict the future thing. We're also, I think, all suffering from a bit of loneliness. So if you are feeling that at the moment, I also first want to say you are not alone. And welcome to the community of other people who feel like you in that world. And then for those of you that are in leadership roles, I've been talking to so many people in teams recently, and this is a common thing. And as you are trying to figure out how to meet your team where they are, I want you to remember those two things, ambiguity, exhaustion, and loneliness, because my belief right now is if you are in leadership and you are throwing resources at your teams, trying to help them understand that they are needed, wanted, and not get impacted, as many organizations are with this great reassessment, great resignation, great what have you. If you do not solve those two problems first, and primarily, you are going to have people exiting. So first, I think self-diagnose for yourself, but then also for those of you that are in leadership positions. And yes, did I start on kind of a womp womp downer note? I think it's important, because I think we all need a bit of a booster shot, because this is why I'm talking about this, why I'm excited, because the last couple of years have been basically bananas. Let's put it out there, and levels of bananas for everybody. But if you are in to sign up for the Future You adventure, if you're into investing in yourself in 2022, if you're ready to say, okay, I'm going to stop worrying so much about what other people are saying and start really thinking about how to teach people about the future you, I can tell you now, your 2022 professionally will be awesome. We have taken probably a little under 1,000 people through the experience over this past year. And they have come to us for reasons because they've been looking for a job, looking for a promotion, looking to find meaning and reason in their current work, looking to figure out how to be a better leader, looking to figure out how to collaborate better with their colleagues, looking to find that thing in work that really helps them move forward. And across the board, we have had amazing results with people ultimately getting clarity and a path to making their dreams come true. And so we've been testing and experimenting all of this year, and we'll be bringing that all together for 2022 so that you too can do this as well. So let me just tell you now, if you're interested in being in the First to Know group, we've actually got a place where you can actively now say, let me know when it's all coming out, because I want to know about it. I want to know how to participate. I want to know how my teams can participate. I want to learn more. Michelle's going to be putting a chat link in that right below in chat, so you can link to that. We will, of course, be sending that in the follow-up. But either way, there will be opportunities for, as always, free participation and power-up participation for those that want it. So, my message for today is start taking the actions. I'm going to talk about this now. And I am confident. Actually, I would be as so bold as to say, take the steps, and 2022 will actually end in a better place for you than you thought it could. Like there's a commitment and a dare to you all. Because I'll tell you, most people are a little afraid of actually taking the action steps. And We had somebody in a cohort the other day who said, oh my God, I think I've self-advocated myself a little too hard. And I was like, what does that mean? And she said, I've been asked to speak at the premier event for my industry about what it is I do. And I'm now completely terrified. And I was like, what are you talking about? This is fantastic. And what you want to have happen, because that manifests all of the good results. So my goal is actually to also scare you just a tiny bit. Here's the other thing about why I think now is the best time. You all and all of the companies that you work for and all of the teams that have you worked with, I think have been in survival mode for the last, let's say, 18 months. We've all been trying to figure out and waiting for what is the new normal. And the reality is the new normal is actually manifesting as we speak. And I think if we were going to put any guardrails around what is work going to be like for most of us, and I will, well, if you go to work at an Amazon warehouse, I think that's a different story. But when I look at the folks who are on here and the people who come to my experiences, the world of hybrid work, the world of change, the world of reinvention has now started. We are in what history actually calls the plastic years. And the plastic years happens in history right after some sort of what they call social trauma. And social trauma of the past has been war, First World War, Second World War, Vietnam, etc. And if you look at the time post those events, it's the time of great innovation and big change and completely restructured social constructs in society, often at a global level. And if you look at what this entire planet has gone through, is we are still at war a little bit with an invisible bug, but it has completely changed the construct of how things are happening. Now, if you go back in time and look at history, what you learn from people who study these times called the plastic years is that there are a couple of characters that come out of that. One, there's, well, what I call the early adopters. These are the people who say, well, that was no fun. I do not like any of this nonsense. And the future will be awesome because I make it so. My friends, the agentic optimists, and they lean into this change and start defining what the future will be and actually get to write the future. Then there's the people who are like, well, this is not good. And I know there's going to be something different, but I'm going to wait and see what everybody else is going to do, and then I'll do that. These guys do fine. They just don't get to define. And then the last group of people are the ones who go, but I liked it the way it was before. Can't we go back to that? And in history, every single time, the winners are the groups in the first category because they get to define their own future. I'd also say the winners are in the second. The third category don't do so good. And so I sit here and I say we are entering, or I'd actually say we have entered the plastic years, and the only person who can define your future is you. So let's take agency into that, with also understanding that I believe that in this time, because of the way it is, there's an opportunity for you to be both ambitious and generous at the same time. Actually take a path forward that is beneficial to you and beneficial to the people around you, and make a future that's better for everybody. So you're going to have an awesome 2022. You need to start doing stuff now, and you can be ambitious and generous at the same time. Here's the other thing. I actually believe we all also have the power to choose. And I'm going to talk about that in just a second, because, and I'm going to put my fingers like this because it's easier to hold my hand up. I want you to make a choice right now. I've just introduced you to this idea of, if you invest in yourself, awesome things will happen. You can either sit here and go, you know what, Joanna, you're ridiculous. I'm totally not bought into this. I don't like any of this. You know, I thought this would be something else. Who knows? Because as you have all heard me say, every decision made about you and your opportunities is made in a room that you are not in. You have all just made a decision on whether you think I'm completely batshit, or if you're like, there's something here and I want to learn more. So if you have decided that I'm not all that in a bag of chips, you could go ahead and hit the end button right now, and I will not be mad at all, because I actually will be excited that you are making a choice for yourself, or you can stick around. So I'm going to give you 30 seconds to hang up. I'll probably give you less than 30 seconds to hang up. Have we lost anybody? No. Okay, winning. I consider that a score for today. Okay, so you have all decided to say. So, okay. And because we've decided to say, and this is bugging me, I'm going to switch that around. Oh, I still can't make the sun work. It's not working for me. We're just going to be a bit sparkly. Okay, so what am I talking about when I think about these plastic years and what has happened? I think when I think about the world of work and how I'm looking at how you can start investing in the future you, how you can start thinking about the future you, is I think there is a shift in the workplace that has been coming for a really long time that has now accelerated. And this is absolutely the results of it are being shown with the Great Reassessment, Great Resignation, great, whatever you want to call it. And it's a shift from what I call the power economy to what I am now calling the option economy. And in the power economy, all decisions were structured around this I choose you formula. It's the decision makers in the room choose who get the opportunities. It's the CEO chooses the strategy and explains it. It's a very top-down architecture. Totally understandable, because it was built off of the Industrial Revolution and the creation of management. And we've been building on this kind of top-down, I choose you dynamic for really hundreds of years now. But what has happened over, and I actually think this has been coming on for a little while, but what's happened and has now been accelerated is we've shifted into this option economy. And in the option economy, we understand and recognize that we choose each other. Every single time you meet somebody, you collaborate with somebody, you hire somebody, whatever, you are actually saying, oh, I'm making a bet that future shenanigans with you would be awesome. And whatever your definition of awesome is, it's entirely up to you, but you're actually betting on somebody's future. And if you think about this, I would probably argue that every single one of you has participated on a team or in an organization in a version of this option economy already. Like, I want you to go back to the time where you were doing the work of your life. You absolutely loved what you were doing. You loved who you were collaborating with. Your confidence was high. Your engagement was high. You were really excited about the work that you were doing. What was true about that moment is not only did you opt into that opportunity, but the people that helped you and worked with you to manifest whatever it is you needed to manifest opted into you too. Unlike the projects and scenarios and what have you, where somebody says, I need you to work on this project, will you do it? And you did it because either it would be a career eliminating move if you didn't, or there was nobody else to do it, but you did it begrudgingly, or you weren't, for some reason, excited about who you had to collaborate with. In those scenarios, things don't often go as well, right? And so I sit here and I say, okay, so if in the option economy, in the place where not only do I opt into you, but you opt into me, competition goes down, politics goes down, scarcity of resources, why do I matter? All of those things go down. And when we opt into each other, we're better at collaborating. we're fearless in making really difficult decisions. We get to do work that matters. We're excited and curious about what we're doing. I just sit here and I say, well, hang on a second. Why aren't we, instead of worrying about what do people call me or do I matter? Instead of worrying about that, how do we shift the conversation from that to how do I make it easy for people to choose me? So it makes it easy for them to opt into me. Because in doing so, not only will I get to be part of teams where we choose each other and therefore manifest my ambitions, but in making myself easy to choose, I'm actually being fantastically generous at the same time. Let me ask, like, how many of you guys have been on a project or been on an initiative where you felt that particular kind of magic? Yeah, like I sit here and I say, compensation and all those things matter. Do not get me wrong. Very much so. And especially, I want everybody on this room to get paid very well for what it is you do. But when what you want to be wanted for and what people want from you are equal. I'll say that again. What you are wanted for and what people want you for are equal. You can be your best self in the work that you're doing. And you can have the confidence to do the scary things that you sometimes have to do to learn and grow and manifest whatever your ambitions are in a place where you feel needed and wanted. And I sit here and I go, in all of my career and all of the people that I work with career, that's the thing to optimize for. That's the thing to head for, because you get to manifest your ambitions and you get to be generous at the same time, which I don't know about the rest of you, is something I would love to aspire to. And like, I want to break it down because this isn't just a story about you. Like, if you are leading a team, you don't become a leader unless your team opts into you, right? If you are wanting to get a promotion, while yes, all of the goodies have to be there and all of that sort of stuff, but a leadership team needs to opt into the potential of you. If you want to get a job, same thing. If you're talking to your customers need to opt into you. If you want to build confidence, best way to build confidence is to be able to practice, and you practice with people who choose you. If you want to be more strategic, if you want to be more collaborative, if you want to be all of those words that when I talk to all of you about what your ambitions are in the future, they all start with somebody else choosing you, because manifesting your ambitions is never a solo journey. You're always doing it with other people. So our goal for you, for right now and for 2022 and beyond, is for people to be as much as of a fan of the future you as I am a fan of the future you right now. Because if you have shown up today, I am already on team you, gonna make it happen. And I sit here, and if you can learn how to do it for yourself, you can then learn how to do it for others, and then we all get to win at the end of the day. Okay, so I just talked about this, what it is that you want to be wanted for equaling what people want from you. And actually, I want to really break that down for just a second, because think about it for a second. How many of you have somebody who wants you for something that you don't want to be anymore? Yeah, a little bit bored with your jobs, right? How many of you have a situation where what they want from you is something that you're like, oh, I don't know if I can do that? Yeah. Welcome to the world of what I call a bit scared. We are all navigating bored, scared, and stuck, because when it is equal, that's when it's awesome. And so as you are first looking at your situation, I would sit here and have a really hard conversation with yourself and say, in my current state, when I think about what I want to be wanted for, am I a bit bored? or I'm a bit scared, which is bored is what I'm wanted for is not what I want to offer anymore. Might be awesome, but it might be not what you want to offer for. Scared is people are asking me for more than I think I can. And then stuck is I don't even know what I want to offer. Is anybody in the stuck bucket? Yeah, a couple of folks. It's everybody. This is why I love to talk to all of you, is everybody is on their own adventure and everybody's diagnosis is going to be a bit different because everybody's ambition is a little bit different. So I'm actually going to start with the stuck folks because the first question, and I'm now going to give you 4 questions that I want you to consider over the holidays that I am going to be asking over and over and over again over the next year, because I think these 4 questions are the key to unlocking magic. First one, what is it you want to offer? Now, if you don't know, this is where you tap into experimentation world. If you've been to some of my live shows before, you know that I'm a big fan of like experimenting and testing out and going, do I like this? Do I like that? Do I like the other? And or going out and asking other people what their experience doing something is. I'm a big believer in this idea of you can't be what you can't see. And if you can't see it, go ask other people. Also, by the way, a very generous question to ask because people sure do love to talk about themselves. So first question I want everybody to ask for themselves is, what is it I want people to opt into? What is it I want from me? Now, for those of you who are either in the bored or scared category, within that question, in the scared category, here's my question for you is what they want from you just the conversation in your head doing a bit of a number on you, or is it really not possible? And my guess is some of this is just you going, I need to practice, I need to practice. And so the medicine solution for you is to go find people you can practice with. Go find people who are generous enough with you that actually showing up and saying, I'm going to be a bit of a train wreck on this because I need to practice first, is the best option for you, because in practice is how we get more confident in doing something. And for those of you that are a little bit bored, you are going to have the really hard conversation where you're going to have to go to the person who is currently buying this version of you and figure out whether they are willing and open to buying something else. And I think I give you the language of buying because you are renting a subscription to your future time. This is the product that you have. You are the CEO and founder of Future You Incorporated. And that is what people are buying you for you. And if they are buying an older version of the product, you are the only person who can then go out and teach people about the new version of the product. So there's some individual paths on those areas. However, before you start doing any of that, my second question, so 1, what is it you want to sell? Once you have figured that out, why would the other person care? Well, all of this is about you. It is not about you at all. It's actually about how others perceive the potential of you, and their perception of their potential taps into why they would care. Now, so often I hear, well, they should care because I've worked really hard for them, or they should care because I'm really good at what I do, or they should care because I'm due for a promotion. Not why they care, folks. They care because there is a benefit to them. And a benefit might be you're making their lives easier, you are increasing the bottom line, you are finding an opportunity where there's growth, you are having business impact in your organization. Often that is really hard for people to see. So again, as you are thinking about the product that you want to offer, go out and ask people where they see value in this opportunity or product. The same way you would if you were bringing any product to the market. You would never just launch a product and go, oh, look at all of its fantastic features. You would do customer research first. You need to understand why the other person cares, which also means that you need to understand what matters to them. What matters to you and what matters to the person who is buying you might be two different things. They might be the same thing, bonus, but it might be a different thing. So really start thinking about asking them those questions. Third question, how do I make it easy for them to recognize? Now, I talked a little bit about potential just now. I want to remind you all, potential is infinitely easier to recognize when it looks and sounds like you. And when I say when it looks and sounds like you, I mean when somebody has gone through the same life experience as you so they can play the same movie. Here's the thing, the only person who has had a similar life movie as to you are your siblings, maybe your parents. Absolutely every person you engage with has had an infinitely different life to you. This is why, by the way, I think all the millennials are right. We are all special snowflakes. I think it's fantastic. And when you bring a bunch of snowflakes together, you get snowmen and snowballs and skiing and all sorts of fantasticness. I think we actually need to double down on this narrative. I want you all to remember that the movie you are playing in your head about whatever your thing is absolutely different from how somebody else is seeing your movie. Really practical example. How many of you guys have read a book? It's been one of your favorite books, and then gone to see the movie and been fantastically disappointed. Oh my God. I was so angry at the end of The Time Traveler's Wife. I nearly lost my mind. The book, by the way, if you haven't read it, Time Traveler's Wife by Audrey Nefflinger, is spectacular. The movie was horrifying because the movie I had created in my own head of what it should look like and the Eric Bana version that actually manifested on the film were completely different. And I was super bummed and pissed off. Doesn't interestingly happen the other way around, but it's that disparate vision of the movie that actually gets us all into trouble. And so as you are teaching people about the potential of the future you, understanding why they would care, you need to consider what movie is playing in their head, which is why if you've been to any of my programming, you know that I am a big, big fan of my favorite question when you are asking people to hear what it is you have to say about yourself, to ask the question, what did you hear? As opposed to, what do you think? And for those of you that haven't heard this piece of advice before, let me reiterate. When you are first introducing yourself, when you are pitching an idea, when you are sharing an insight, we tend to, because we all ultimately want to matter at the end of the day, we tend to say, what do you think? And or my other favorite version of this is, does this make sense? I will totally own I've been known to say this one myself. When you ask, what do you think? You're assuming they understand what you just shared. And you're actually asking for validation. Let's be real here. You're asking for validation that you're right. The thing is you can't ask somebody, especially when it's the product of you, if you're right, when you're not entirely sure if they understand and they're playing the same movie. So if you ask the question, what did you hear? You get an answer that does two things. One, you're going to find out what the movie is that's actually playing in their head. So what landed about what it is you just said. And more importantly, you're going to give the person you said it to a practice session on how to talk about why you're awesome in the room that you're not in. Because I also want to roll back, every decision made about you and your opportunities is made in a room that you're not in. One, do they even know who you are and that you exist? Very important question. And two, what are they saying? And to solve that problem, you need to teach that room how to talk about the future you and the way you want them to say. And this, what do I want them to choose? Why do they care? How do I help them remember? Is how to start teaching that room. Because the fourth question is, how am I going to make it easy for them to tell other people? We live in a world right now where we all seem to believe that if we have a social media presence or a beautiful resume or a LinkedIn profile that looks spectacular, or we're writing blogs or doing podcasts or doing live shows or doing whatever it is you're doing, showing up and you have a title, we seem to believe that the louder and broader we are there, the more people will discover us and then convert and be fans of us. The reality is if you were selling beautiful sparkly tops like the one I'm wearing today, yes, absolutely. Marketing products totally works that way. But when you are buying the potential of a human being, word of mouth, like it actually is in the real world for real products, is the sales funnel that is most effective. And I have no doubt that absolutely every single one of you have been given an opportunity, have been given a promotion, have been given a job, have chosen somebody to be part of Team You because of word of mouth, because of the every decision made about you is made in a room that you're not in. I guarantee, like if I promoted you all right now, brought you all onto Team Amplify Lab and said, you are all now the, give yourself whatever title you want. You can hire 3 people to do whatever strategy that you think is best. And by the way, here's a $500,000 budget. Is that big enough for everybody? I hope that is. Okay, off you go. My guess is you would know which 3 people you would want to recruit in right now. Or at least you would start thinking about them. And that's what I mean by opting in. You have all just opted into 3 people in your head immediately in a completely fictitious scenario. It's word of mouth that is really important. The rest of the things, yes, absolutely bolster you. This is why the expression we buy on emotion, justify on fact. That first opt-in is an emotional choice. The kit and caboodle is the fact. So if all of that is true, how do you make it easy for others to share who you are, why you're awesome, so other people can opt in to you? What do you want to offer? Why would the other person care? How do you make it easy for them to see? How do you make it easy for them to share? These 4 steps, done consistently over time with the people that you want to opt into you, because in the what do you want, it's as important to understand what it is you want to offer as to who you want to offer it to. That done consistently over time will make your professional dreams come true. And in that world, you are not going to need a fairy godmother to judge anything, because you're going to be able to make it yourself. Those are the 4 questions. Okay. I feel like I just shouted at you for an hour, except it's not been an hour. It's been 40 minutes. These are my 4 questions, and it's what I'm going to be obsessing with teams and people and all the things next year. I will tell you, I just wrapped up an experience where we were sharing with an entire group in a company these ideas, and I think we actually had some crying at one point in one of the sessions because people were so empowered with each other. It was fantastic. I see this as the path, this option economy, and how do we optimize for each other being the path to success for everybody, regardless of your age, race, gender, education, cultural background, whatever. These are universal truths for everybody. And I know that if we all start leaning into our potential and who we could be and making it easy for people to opt into us, we can actually build a future that is really exciting and really human and ultimately really generous. Okay, so for those of you that haven't been before, this is where we switch from Joanna talking to a room to demonstrations. So two things. So Michelle, can we, first of all, if somebody's all like, yeah, make sure I hear about all of this stuff in 2022, put the sign up page link in the chat again really quickly. And then did we have any early volunteers?
We did, yes. Looks like that we got, sorry, I wrote it down here. Kara, sorry.
Kara. Kara. Hi, Kara.
Hello.
I don't think we've met before, have we?
We have definitely not met before.
Come to the first. Well, welcome. You are actually sandwiched on my screen between some OG Joanna live show attendees, because I do have to give a shout out. Dawn, the fact that you are showing up in pink today, it's like we're twins. It's fantastic. I love it. I also want to know where you got your sweater. And Joan, it is awesome to see you as well. I see you on the other side. Okay, so Kara.
Yes.
What's the sitch? Give me a little debrief on what's going on with you.
Let's see, I've spent the last 10 years executing a career pivot, and in a discipline that I just absolutely love. And I had thought that I wanted to be a people manager as a next step. And in my last year and role, I realized that that was not my dream. And so I've realized my calling is to be an individual contributor. And so I'm looking to redefine, or, to sort of plow a path for what it means to be a very advanced individual contributor in my field. And my challenge is, I don't have the spark of passion I had about my work that I had before the pandemic. Like before the pandemic, I just threw myself into my line of work and found speaking engagements and were mentoring and doing all these extra things that just brought me all this energy. And through the pandemic, I've had to moderate my endeavors to help out with the kid and all this stuff. And so I'm trying to, I want my spark back, but I need to do it in a healthy way because I'm still in a state of needing to try to have a social life again.
Okay.
Sort of thing.
So that was a lot.
Mhm.
I want to make sure I'm doing the what did you hear thing. Because I'm not sure there were several problems in there that I heard that I want to make sure I have right. And I want to know which one we want to focus on, because there's how do I teach people that I am actually a fantastic individual contributor and that they should buy that as opposed to this potentially people manager thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other one is how do I find my spark? How do I get on board thing without actually throwing myself off the deep end again?
I find the spark question more compelling today.
Okie dokie. Okay, well then we will talk about spark. So now I gotta know, what is it you do?
I'm a human-centered designer.
Okay. Why is it cool?
Because I help to bring empathy into the world, help to tailor products and services to truly meet people's needs and do so in a way that makes them usable and hopefully delightful.
Okay. And what was going on when you felt the spark before?
When I felt the spark, you mean what was the context of the spark? Or
yeah, what was going on when you were all I am all fired up? I had too many balls in the air.
I think I think part of it was that I had lots of different ideas about what I wanted to test and try and achieve. And I had clear ideas about how to grow in my career. And I also felt I don't know, things were exciting and fresh in a way that I don't feel right now.
Okay. And it sounds like part of what was sparkly for you was the performing part. Is that true, or did I?
The achieving part, yeah.
Okay, talk to me. What do you mean by the achieving part?
Like having ideas about how to challenge myself and pushing my own limits and then going about them. Like I get a lot of energy off of like setting audacious goals and then achieving them.
Okay. An important question, because we will have to get paid at the end of the day too. Why would your company be like, absolutely be sparkly you? What's the benefit to your boss and your organization? Like, is there a lift for them too, or is this just a you endeavor? And you endeavor is a totally fine answer.
I don't understand the question. I'm sorry. Like,
well, so if you became more sparkly you again, because that's what we're trying to like.
Yeah.
When I come back to my questions, what is it you want to be wanted for? You want to be wanted for sparkly you, right?
Yeah.
I think you should just put that on a big giant post-it note and put it on your bathroom mirror as a reminder. Because the reality is if you, let's also tie this back to your other question. If you want to be a strategic individual contributor, it's the product that you're selling is not leadership you, which is what you've been selling up to now. The product you're selling is actually sparkly you. Because that's like when you sit here and go like, what do strategic individual contributors look like? And I say sparkly, that's your definition of what, like somebody else might have a different definition, but it's the people who are known for being the idea generators and the experts in a particular field, right? Be a strategic individual contributor, you have to do that. So optimizing for sparkly you. So when you were delivering sparkly you in the past, was there, my question is, it's coming back to, one was, there was the achievement thing. No, so is there a benefit to your company if you are more, your definition, sparkly?
Yeah, I think I raise up those around me when I'm in true sparkly form. I get people excited about the work. And I, find ways to move the work forward, like make the work more fun and move it forward in a way so we can, I don't know, maybe find other ways to deliver value.
Okay. And how have you found the ideas in the past?
The ideas of
things that made you sparkly in the past.
I looked to industry leaders, or I mean, like one idea was like that I applied to talk at a conference in New Zealand because traveling to New Zealand sounded really exciting. So I kind of thought of things that sounded really fun, but also challenging. Yeah, equal measures of fun and challenging.
Fun and challenging. Okay. Okay, so I come back to the, what is it you want to offer people? And that's the, I want to be able to figure out like, what is the sparkly thing? And do you remember what I said about like, if that is step one, like what is the thing, what your best next step was?
No.
That's okay. I was curious to see if it landed because I know I'm asking all the things. So here is my recommendation for you. Is you remember earlier in the show, I said ambition doesn't have to be a solo journey. And did you put your hand up when you said I'm feeling a bit lonely?
Yes, I did.
I think you need to find yourself a squad. What I mean by that is like maybe 3 or 4 people.
Yeah.
And I challenge you to find 3 or 4 people who, if I held up and I wrote this down, oh, you can't see it. Usable and delightful over empathy. That if you went out and said, I am curious in meeting people who were excited about the idea of usable plus delightful over empathy as an equation to, I don't know, have a glass of wine over Zoom and then do a thinking session with them, I think you could create all sorts of ideas from that. Because your comment about the New Zealand situation is the idea came from understanding why the New Zealand audience would care. And just to show you how easy this is, How many people on the show today would be all like, I would totally give half an hour of my time to have a conversation about the intersection of usable, delightful, and empathy? Look at how many hands just went up. All right.
Mm-hmm.
And I sit here because what's happening here in our conversation is your belief in the product has dipped because you're not excited about it. We just had, I don't know, 20 hands go up. Does this make you feel a little bit better about how cool you are?
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah. I can also tell you, because I know many of the hands that went up here, it's part of their excitement is the usable, delightful empathy thing actually made sense to them. I can tell you for sure Dawn is all in this space. And that having a conversation with you while absolutely figuring out what the sparkly stuff is for you is going to be, and Dawn, correct me if I'm wrong here, is going to give her ideas of how to make sparkly things for her too. Yeah, see? So I would do step one, some product research and figure out how to define sparkly again. With others. And I think in that will help you believe in the future you too. When that happens, then you can start teaching everybody else about this new you. And on the time thing, you're the CEO and founder of You Inc. You get to decide how much or how little you do of this, right? You get to decide because this is an opt-in thing. So I would ping some of the folks who waved their hands on this call. And then when you all get together and figure out what the sparkly thing is, let me know because I want to know. Awesome. Okay. So we are way past time and my lovely husband is all like, when am I going to get to do laundry? Because I won't let him do that while we are on a live show because the washing machines are right out my door. I want to thank all of you for coming today. I hope today was helpful and useful. And I hope the 4 questions are really good food for thought for you as you run into 2022 and beyond. We'll put them in the email again. 1, what is it you want to offer? What do you want to have people opt into? Figure that one out first. Why will people care? What's in it for them? How will you help them recognize it? Because their movie and your movie are going to be different. And then last but not least, how do you make it easy to tell other people, for them to tell other people? Because word of mouth is what makes the human magic happen. These are my 4 questions. We're going to be talking about them a lot in 2022 and beyond, so stay tuned. Otherwise, it was awesome seeing all of you, and Dawn and Trisha and Joan and Kimber, and well, I'll rattle off everybody's, but certainly the folks who have come back, and a big thanks to Michelle and Kelly who have been troopers by my side as we've done this as part of the team. I want to thank you all for coming. Have a wonderful, wonderful holiday break. I hope you're all up to fun shenanigans, and here's to you all making your dreams come true in 2022.